Now back to the other side of the aisle. We caught up with Green Bay freshman Congressman Republican Reid Ribble just before the President's State of the Union address. I was able to ask him about his first month on the job, including his vote on the health care repeal bill and a Packers-Bears bet he made with an Illinois congressman. Congressman Ribble, thanks very much for joining us.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you very much.
Well, first things first, after your friendly wager with Congressman Lipinski from Illinois, is he sporting his Green Bay Packers tie yet?
Well, not that I've seen. I'm sure he's going to live up to his responsibility. It was a fun weekend for Green Bay Packer fans for sure.
Definitely. Now, not that someone from the Fox Valley can take their mind off the upcoming Super Bowl, but down to House business. You campaigned against the health care reform law and got the opportunity to vote to repeal it. Now, is this something that you would like to strictly repeal, or would you like to recast it in some form, keeping some elements?
You know, I've always said from the very beginning of my campaign that I felt that health care needed to be reformed, that there were things that I felt should happen to help drive costs down. And so I wasn't opposed to the Congress looking at health care and taking a real serious study and making recommendations and even passing law that would help facilitate driving costs down. But I don't think that the health care bill as it was currently crafted will do that. In fact, I think it'll cost Americans more money.
So what are some of the elements in it that you thought were good ones?
Oh, I think there's a couple things there that were pretty important, actually. Obviously, we want to make sure that those that were not able to have insurance because of pre-existing conditions, that we could find a way to help find coverage for them. The idea of having children up to age 26 or 27 or 28, pick your number, be able to continue on their family plan with their parents, I thought made a lot of sense. The idea of bringing young people with their healthy bodies into the risk pool and encouraging them or incentivizing them to get into the pool and to have health insurance, I think was a good idea. And so those types of things will actually drive costs down. And so I was supportive of that.
What's your expectation as to what will happen with it now?
I think going forward, you're going to see the Republican-controlled House begin to take a look at the health care bill piece by piece and begin to amend it. And then I think they're going to take a look at tort reform ideas where we can maybe reduce the defensive practice of medicine that we see so frequently as doctors are afraid of malpractice lawsuits. And listen, it's not that we don't think Americans should have a right to have redress of grievances or even take their cases to court. But I think you're going to see a real push toward the idea of maybe adding a loser pay provision onto any type of medical malpractice claims so that we get rid of the frivolous lawsuits and just have the legitimate ones surface.
Now, you have been appointed to the Budget and the Agriculture Committees. What is your first priority on the Budget Committee?
Well, I think the American people in the last election sent a message to Congress and even to the President saying that they wanted us to get serious about cutting spending. They're concerned about the overall state of the economy. They believe, like I do, that spending is part of our problem, not part of the solution. And so we're going to take a very close look at how the government is spending its money, spending the money the taxpayer gives it, and we're going to begin to address those in a systematic fashion. And that means the pie will necessarily get smaller. The distribution of that pie, when it's all said and done, may not change much, but the actual physical size of the pie will.
Where do you cut first, and is anything sacred?
You know, I don't think that. I think we ought to be able to go at this thing. I know for me, coming in as a freshman member, having never served in public office before, I don't really have any sacred cows, as we might say in northern Wisconsin. I think we're going to take a look at everything. We've often heard, and I would ask in the district as I would go about the district, how many people believe there's at least 5% waste in every department of the government? And every single hand in the room would go up. And then I would push it a little further and say, how many of you believe that there's at least 10% waste? And I still wouldn't see hands going down. The American people believe government's wasteful. They don't trust government to spend their money correctly. And so I think we take a look at everything.
Now, you also, again, are appointed to the Agriculture Committee. What is your position on the level of farm subsidies going out the door?
Well, it's the same thing as I mentioned just before in the budget. I think that subsidies are going to be reduced. I think they're going to get smaller, and we're going to look more closely at where those subsidies go to make sure that there's some type of return on investment for the American people. Where that all comes down is going to be part of the committee process. It's going to be bipartisan, and we're going to take a look at that. But I think I can say with a pretty good deal of certainty and confidence that the overall size of subsidies are going to go down this year.
As a roofing construction business owner, what do you think it's going to take to get the housing industry back to economic health?
Oh, man, it's going to take several things. I think, and now I don't have these in any priority list, but I think you're going to have to get medium and small banks. You're going to need to get the regulators off the backs of medium and small banks, and they've got to be able to do construction, development, and land acquisition lending again. I think that the regulators have squeezed the net too tightly. But there's a big consumer confidence problem. Right now, Americans don't want to invest into large things like buying a new home because they're not certain they're going to have a job tomorrow or in a few months. Once the psychology of the American consumer begins to change, once they see that this Congress is serious about its financial house and that we're going to, in fact, work toward a balanced budget, I think that's going to interject a lot of confidence into that consumer. And I think those types of things will be the things that will start to change that.
Finally, what is your Super Bowl prediction?
Green Bay Packers are going to win this one running away.
Well, that's great news and a great prediction. Congressman Ribble, thank you very much for joining us.
Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on today.